business of being in business. That's just my personal feeling. Thank you.
You bring up two good points, and I want to make sure that those, because there are answers to one, why they backed out, and two, that clause. We've overcome that clause as far as NWRD. So I'll make sure that Mr. Shapin puts that on the website to answer those questions. Thank you. Anybody else? 10 after 8, last call. With that, again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I don't disagree with Mr. Cliff on a lot of things. I don't like it any more than anybody else does as far as, government taking on any more business. But there's an opportunity here that I believe the trustees that we have here that we're identifying is a win-win for the town. And I want to do our due diligence. I want to continue to go forward. Again, I apologize for not having more information as far as what we're working towards based upon the weather. And Metra has kept me extremely busy right now, trying to keep all that going. Board members have been called out of town on different business. So we are working through that. It has been, it's been a very unusual couple weeks, and we got to get through it as far as, first and foremost is the services in town, and that we don't drop in our services. So again, I appreciate everybody coming out and speaking their mind on it. It's good open debate, and I look forward to working with everybody and as we go with this process. So with that, we're going to go to the clerk's report, and I would like you to speak as far as when we bring that your ordinance up. All right? Madam Clerk.
Thank you. I attended the Municipal Clerks of Illinois Winter Conference in Effingham on January 16th and 17th. We previously, all the other years, have held the one in Effingham or in that area in the summertime, and I want to say -4 degrees was not all the time. This is the first, I hope the last time, is that Effingham in the winter. But anyway, it was a very good conference, so we had a session on the new gaming laws, and how after, there's such a rash of businesses wanting to put them in, install them, that once they're all installed, which they're still being installed today, then it will, they'll have more time to, police them. So that will be increasing as they are installed, and it frees up people to come around and check out things. I was amazed to hear that the line is drawn, it's Route 80. So anything south of Route 80, and all these little towns have, umpteen machines. And anyway, that's the southern section of this gaming area. And then north of I-80, of course, is the north. And they don't have an east or west, so it's just that's where the state's divided. I was a little surprised to hear that. Anyway, then we had the greater session. It was talking about legislation that's going to be passed in 2013 and future legislation in 2014 as it pertains to the clerk's office. The first ordinance we had this evening, if passed, would be ordinance O-9-14. And this is granting a special use for plan unit development and zoning map amendment for 604 to 606 State Street in
I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Made by Trustee Stapleton, second by Trustee Jadekas, and Sherry. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the ordinance that you have before you tonight will rezone the property 604, 606 State from R4A to B1, and there will also be a plan unit development for the property. Originally, the request came through as just a rezoning based on concerns expressed by the neighbors at the public hearing and also the committee as a whole. The applicant and staff worked together to come up with a solution that would address some of those concerns about maybe more intense commercial uses or potential redevelopment of the property. So the plan unit development before you today represents that compromise solution. It would allow B1 uses, but with restrictions to limit the more intense uses that were concerns of the neighbors. It would limit the commercial use to the existing building that has been commercially used historically for commercial purposes in the past. And it would require a PUD amendment for any future redevelopment of the site. So anything that would substantially change the existing conditions would require another public hearing process.
Thank you, Charity. I know we did a lot of work back and forth. You guys did a lot of work. I want to thank Mr. Ross. I want to thank the homeowners. Please, if this, this is your time. If you want to,
I actually get to talk.
You get to talk. It's all yours.
Well, I just felt that they should talk about their thing because it was very heated and you spoke, and that's the moment people should talk about it. I don't have a direct opinion one way or the other, except that my taxes I'm concerned about. My kids are black belts. They teach karate at the Park District. I've never done a traveling sport. I tried to get my daughter to do soccer when she was little. She laid down in the field and plucked dandelions. I gave up at that moment. So, yeah. I do feel everybody had valid comments. My taxes have gone up five times, 50%, no, 500% from what I paid when I moved here. So I fully understand. When I moved here, just to say it, I don't know, most of you probably don't know this, but when I moved here, and several other people could tell you that too, we didn't have a separate library. The library was actually in the high school. You went in the first set of doors and turned, and that was the entrance to the actual public high school library. So a lot of changes have happened. A lot of things have been bond issues. We've had a lot of growth.
You're burning your time.
Sorry. Okay, I just want to thank you for our PvP. I think that we sat down 2 weeks ago, was it? We worked it all out. There were some burning issues. I'd say everybody got 80% of what they wanted. Tom can't be here tonight. He got food poisoning yesterday at Crystal Garden. So be wary when you go. Just had to put that out there. Yeah. Just a warning. Apparently you don't want to eat the sauerkraut. So if you stay away from that, we're good. But we did work out.
Sorry, Stan. Sorry.
Who's picking the menu?
There's no official opinion.
Who's picking the menu? Just be forewarned.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate that.
I just had to put that
That's
in.
fine. That's fine.
No diss, I think that Crystal Gardens is perfectly fine. Apparently, we've all worked it out. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to go back, try and make everybody as happy as we could be. It isn't a perfect situation, but it never was going to be. It never has been. And I think we're all as happy as we're going to be. I think we all ironed out most of the basics. And I'd say everybody got even the village didn't get everything won. We all got about 80%, and we're very happy with it as it is. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
I
it.
just want to thank you for that opportunity to go back to the drawing board and rework it.
Like you said, it's a tough piece of property. It's been there for a very long time. There's been a lot of uses back and forth. I want to thank Mr. Ross, who owns the property, for working with the village. Chairman Spinelli in the back, as far as the planning and zoning, did another great job. I know you guys spent 2 hours working through this again. Thank you very much for taking the time to again, it's a good compromise back and forth. And I think
Would you say everybody got about 80%? Because I mean, there had to be some concessions even on the village to current codes because the property doesn't meet those requirements. So I'd say everybody got pretty much the best we could get.
Excellent.
I thought it worked well, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And that's American government at its best.
Thank you so much. Any questions as far as on the board? No. Roll call.
Nichols?
Yes.
Sadowski absent. Stapleton?
Yes.
Virgilian absent. Lancer?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion approves.
Okay, the next item on the agenda this evening is passed as a resolution, and this will be R-6-14. And this is authorizing the release of a letter of credit for the Brunswick Connemara subdivision.
I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Made by trustee Miklos, second by trustee Blatzer. You want to start with
Yeah.
it, and then you want to go through some stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Give a brief background here since it's been a couple months since we've discussed the Glens of Connemara. During the process of approving the Glens of Connemara, the developer gave the village a letter of credit to ensure the public improvements will be completed. Over the years, a portion of the improvements have been completed, so the letter's been reduced down to about $775,000 to its current amount. A few months ago, the developer approached the village and asking the village what our requirements would be to release their current letter of credit. In exchange, they would give the village a new letter of credit of a lesser amount. And the reason for this would be to assist them in finishing the subdivision, not only the village improvements, but also to sell more lots and eventually finish the subdivision and build it out completely. Brought this up to a committee of the whole, I think it was back in October, and the board says as long as the village is protected, move forward and see what we can do to help out the developer, and but also ensure that the village is completely protected in case of default. So staff gathered up numerous times, legal staff, engineering, building, planning, and gave the developer basically every requirement possible that they needed to do in order for us to even present it here for you tonight, including the televising, cleaning, and submittal of the sewer system to the engineer and approval. And the as-built had to be submitted, and some other requirements that were required of them during this time. Here to report that they've done everything that we've asked them to do. There's a couple minor items that they will need to wait until the spring to complete on, some repair of some sewer, and then in the spring they are committed to putting the final lift of the streets. And from then, curb repair, and from there, they'll be close to submitting the rest of the subdivision for approval. So accompanying the release is also a new letter of credit in the amount of $500,000 to ensure the remaining public improvements.
I asked our village engineer to come tonight. It's good to know that you actually get out during board meetings. Good to see you, Jim. It's been a while. It's been wearing the tie-ins and a jacket. That's impressive as well. And I know in the board packet went through as far as we've done all the televising. There is an area that was found to be defective. It happens to be 20 feet down, so obviously we can't get at it right now, but that is one of the most important parts as far as that was a concern for Jim and I. And I'm actually, this would actually work in our favor of have them not have the top lift being down, because as many plows have been in there this year, it would have just chewed up that much more than our time into that. So I think we rolled the dice, and actually it's going to work out better, because then the developer's going to have to fix all the curbs, knock those out, have that all done in the spring. Another couple of things we talked about, once they get down to, is it 8 or 10 lots, Jim, I said, as far as for the rest of the sidewalks they have to go in. Once they get 10 lots, as soon as they get down to 10 lots that they have vacant still, they have to connect all the rest of the sidewalks. I told them they did not have to put the parkway trees in, because that's just something that's going to get knocked over, or who knows who's going to water them and things back and forth. So the sidewalks were important to do. We continue to work through that back and forth. The street paving, curb repair, sod repair, the extension of Terra Lane, and then the final inspection we made. At that time, then we'll go into the maintenance period, hopefully sometime around August. And then August of 16, we'll have, from this letter of credit, the bike path. We'll put that money from this remaining letter of credit into a escrow account to do with the bike path, the north and south by the convent. So in theory, even though it's one from 750,000 to $500,000, we're not letting them draw down on it based upon other requirements have to be done, have to help hold out, and then even at that point, when they're all done, we come up as a board to what we want to do as far as the escrow account for the north-south. But right now, if it doesn't connect anything, there's no reason for someone to spend money and us to take it over and have maintenance dollars on something that doesn't connect anything, just to go up and down on a bike path, again, a bike path that goes nowhere. So, with that, Jim, do you want to, I had you come just because in case the board had questions, why don't you give what report you had?
No, I think you said it all. I think the main thing is it's a 3-year letter of credit. It cannot be drawn on except village approval, and it says it all.
Okay. We appreciate you coming out, Jim. It's always good. It's always good to see. Yeah, just you hit your stop button. You're no longer charging us. Okay, it's 8:20. I want to see the report. You're done. All right. With that, any other questions in regards to Glenn's? What they have, let's see, here we go. Since November, the Glens have already sold 7 new homes. They hope to do another 15 by this year, and expect to be completely sold in 3 years. So, with this letter of credit helps them renegotiate and redo their lot sales, so that will hopefully be able to, again, spur new development. And I told him this last meeting, we finished the year at 62, right? New houses, 63 new homes that were done in the village of Lemont. It's not the 200 that we were, the 220 that we were at in the height of the growth spurt, but it's extremely good growth. It's not a good steady pace. 50, we had, it was 50, right at 50, it was right at 50. Right, it was 35. The nice part is we didn't have a month that was blank. There was no zeros. Every month had a new building permit that was released. The new development that's coming on across by Rolling Meadows. Some of the other property that's being looked at right now by the bigger developers in town, and then with the Kettering Home development, it's 250 lot, already been approved as far as on Parker Road and 131st. We hope to have movement on that where we're breaking ground and more houses up there. So We look forward to working with all the different taxing bodies in town as those properties come online and other ones that larger developers are looking at to bring more houses into the village of Lemont. So with that, I wanted to mention one more thing too before we go to village attorney's report. When you talked about Madam Clerk on the, I'm sorry, let's vote on that. Roll call. I'm dropping that tonight, sorry.
Nichols?
Yes.
Zagowski absent, Stapleton?
Yes.
Virgilio absent, Blatzer?
Yes.
And Jovikas?
Yes.
Motion approved. Two real quick things. George Schaefer and myself got to go to Mayor Claire's State of the Village address, and he had the first part of January. And we sat next to a gentleman that owns he'll have his 23rd IHOP, all in Chicagoland area. So I said, hey, we've got property at 83 in Maine. We'll give you the property if you bring an IHOP to town. He goes, Lemont, is that Cook County? I'm like, yeah, it's 95% or 98% Cook County. He goes, no, I'm sorry. He goes, I have 21 IHOPs in DuPage and Will. I have one IHOP in Cook County. His IHOP is on 119th and Cicero. His taxes on that IHOP, because they're all the same size, cookie cutter, is $100,000 a year. His taxes average on the other 20 of $20,000 a year. It's just what we're faced with Cook County. It's just another example. I mean, I couldn't give the property away. I mean, that's what we face in this town. One other thing I wanted, as far as what people spend in this town. There are 17 video gaming machines in town. We are averaging $1.1 to $1.2 million people are spending in those machines a month. So that's right online. You can look it up online. That's not me making up numbers. So that's how the state's going to fund their capital bills. That's how we're getting that's how cities and towns are getting, that's how the governor is expanding that. Towns like Joliet are going to lose greatly because they're giving the video gaming and the slot machines to the horse racing tracks. Joliet figures they're going to lose about $3 million because they get $1 every time you walk through the turnstile in Joliet at one of the casinos. The city of Joliet gets $1. They figure it's going to cost them between $2 to $3 million this video gambling a year because people are not going to casinos as far as that. The only person, the only casino's doing good is Rivers Casino. It's in a nice place. So, just more, you know, the more you guys are, more people are understand what's going on, the more you can understand and what we're faced with. So, with that, village attorney's report.
Executive session, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Your report? Anything?
One quick item, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if the chief's going to bring it up or not, but just wanted to caution residents during these times of cold weather. The village has worked with the Lemont Park District in setting up warming stations in case you do need it tonight or tomorrow. If it's after hours, you just contact the police department and they'll find a home for you if there's any people out of heat or other issues. Now's the time to give the police department a call if you have a concern.
Everything in town tomorrow is closed. High school, 113, Catholic, all after school is all closed. I know Park District, all their classes and everything are closed as well. So with that, I have nothing for board reports. Under staff reports, Charity.
So the schools may be closed, but we're open for business. We have our one of two public workshops for the comprehensive plan update, where participants will have an opportunity to go through some interactive activities to help shape and plan our future land use map, which is part of our comprehensive plan update. So that is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. here in this room at Village Hall. The same workshop will also be held Monday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. It's just two different dates and two different times. People can come to whichever one fits their schedule best.
Thank you, Charity. Chief Shaughnessy, I happen to see the yes down here. I'm sorry.
You told me I should speak at every meeting. Two things. One is to remind residents that even and odd parking will be enforced for clearing the snow. Very important that Public Works gets a chance to clear the street from curb to curb. So the police department basically goes with Public Works when they do plow the street, and they'll knock on doors or they'll get on the PA system and do everything they can to get people to move their car voluntarily. So I want to just remind residents, the only way to clear the street, you have to move your car. Even odd parking restrictions are in effect. And they may not work on that tomorrow because of the extreme temperatures, but later on in the week, they certainly will. The next thing is Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, and unfortunately, Super Bowl Sunday is synonymous with drinking. So the police department wants to remind residents that if you're hosting a party, that you make sure that your guests don't leave impaired, that if you're going to a party, that you make sure you have safe transportation home. It's a great day, it's a lot of fun, especially for families, but it has become a problem for law enforcement with the number of impaired drivers that are on the road following Super Bowl parties. So I just want to remind everybody, hey, we want you to have a good time. It just takes one little additional step in planning for a safe ride home. If you host a party, somebody gets in a crash that has been involved in drinking in your property, got two lawyers right over there that will agree to the fact that you can be held accountable for that. You don't have to be a bar or a restaurant you can be a private citizen to be responsible for the actions of others after they've been drinking. So let's make sure we have a fun, safe time in Lemont. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. The gambling, most of it was Pat Gardner, he does most of it. And Alex, you're the one about the Super Bowl party. With that, anybody have any new business, unfinished business? With that, I need a motion to move to executive session to discuss setting price for real estate, personnel, and collective bargaining. Second by trustee Glasser, second by trustee Stapleton.
Pending litigation as well.
Oh, pending litigation as well, I'm sorry, and pending litigation. Okay, again, made by Glasser, second by Stapleton. Roll call.
Nichols,
Yes.
Siyowski absent, Stapleton,
Yes.
Virginio absent, Glanzer,
Yes.
Solikis.
Yes.
Motion approved, go to executive session.